Hello and welcome to another Tuesday Talk with Ruby Reese. Shortly, we will be joined by Kathy from Fluffed Up Grooming to talk all things grooming, coat maintenance, and what we can do between grooms to keep our dog looking and feeling great. And I think Kathy's already online.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing? Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining. Would you do me the favor straight away of introducing yourself?
Okay, so hi, I'm Kathy. I can see myself going red, so please ignore it. So I am the face behind Fluffed Up Dog Grooming. Normally, anyone who follows me will only see dogs on my page because while I could talk kind of like that donkey, I don't really come on my stories and chat and all that kind of thing. So I started Fluffed Up Dog Grooming last year. So we're a mobile dog groomer, which essentially means that we take the hassle out of dog grooming. We come to you. So I've a specially converted van that has been it's completely converted. The back of it is your grooming salon, so you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to do anything. All I need when I arrive is enough space to park the van. So my van is about the same size as an ambulance, and a power source. So I have a big long power lead. So once I can go in a window and a door and a ladder box into the shed, anything like that, I'm O8 to go. So I really focus on kind of force-free grooming. I really want things to be as authentic as possible, as natural as possible. You know, I don't like dogs being stressed out coming in. I don't like being stressed out. I don't like dogs being stressed out leaving. So I really try to make things as positive as I can.
Brilliant stuff. That was a brilliant introduction. Great, obviously, to get everyone to know you. Also, don't worry at all about not usually being on lives and things like that. Most people that come on, I think it's their first time jumping on a live, and for me, it's becoming normal. But I suppose it's
catching up on your last few, and you seem like such a natural. You're quite happy to chat, which is great.
Thank you. Well, getting more used to it because it is the modern world, and I suppose it's here to stay. So, just for people that don't know me, I'm Killian from Ruby Reese. We set up our company just over a year ago. We launched, and we've got a whole range of treats, grooming products, and nutritional supplements. You can check those out on our website afterwards. It's ruby-reese.com. But getting back into the topic, so grooming, such a huge topic. We've had no one really touch on it so far. So really, really delighted to have you on talking about it. Should we maybe define different types of coats just to get into the thick of it, let's say? I suppose you probably have short haired, and we all know the long haired, the wire haired, and maybe curly could come into a separate category. How do you see coats, and how do you define them?
I kind of go short or long is how I kind of separated in my head. I was short or long. So obviously, I don't know if anyone knows that I have two sighthounds. So we have a lurcher who's a rescue, and we have an Italian greyhound who joined us nearly 12 months ago. So I very much, I know a lot about the smooth coats because that's what I deal with on a personal day-to-day basis. Obviously, I deal with all sorts with work, but what really inspired me to get into grooming was rescuing Eve, our lurcher. So she was rescued just over 2 years ago, and we weren't expecting her to shed as much as she sheds, to put it simply. And we were going everywhere. Our hair was all of a sudden covered in lovely fawn hairs, which we weren't expecting. So I was kind of like, right, how are we going to sort this? So what I found incredible was the Kong Zoom Groom. I recommend it to absolutely all my clients. Short hair, long hair, it's incredible. Sorry, I'm going off topic.
No, I want to hear about this recommended product. This it's called the Kong Zoom Groom.
The Kong Zoom Groom. So it's essentially a rubber curry comb, like a rubber curry comb. Like you'd be able to fit it in your hand if you go like this. It's rubber, but it's soft. So like my parents' dog absolutely hates being groomed. You could pick him up by his tail and swing him around over your head. I don't recommend doing that, but you could. He'd come back for more. He's fantastic. But if you come near him with a brush, he absolutely can't cope with it. He just doesn't know what to do. So he likes the Zoom Groom. So I recommend it for short-haired dogs. Like, I think I have stuff up on my own profile about Eve and like getting the amount of hair I get off Eve with it. I use it on long-haired dogs. So when they're in the bath, especially, German Shepherds, Golden Retrievers, anything like that, I use it on them to get the hair out. I use it on them when they're in the bath. The Zoom Groom is absolutely incredible. But I know you were asking me kind of a short hair, long hair, curly, the whole lot. So I kind of go off on my own tangent. Sorry.
We love tangents. Okay. We love tangents, and especially when it's really valuable information like that, because it sounds like any type of dog coat you could use this on. So
100%. Like, I wouldn't use it on kind of a curly coat. So if you have like a poodle, a cavapoo, a cockapoo, any kind of the poodle mixes, I wouldn't really use it on. Or kind of like longer hair, wiry coats. Like, I wouldn't use it on a miniature schnauzer. Sorry, Fig is crying on the other side of the door, so I don't know if you can hear it.
That's fine. That's no problem.
So I wouldn't use it. Like, my sister is a miniature schnauzer. I wouldn't use it on him, but I would use it on more or less anything else. It's incredible. And what I advise people to do is kind of use it in circular motions, because it really helps get all those loose hairs out, all the undercoat that wants to come out, it gets it out. It's incredible. So definitely,
brilliant.
Recommend that.
I know what's going on our shopping list over the next
100%. It is so worth it. And like, some people say to me that they're after spending an absolute fortune on this slicker blush or that Ferminator or whatever, and they're all great in their own way, but I think what everyone should have in their back pocket when it comes to trying to get hair off, so it's not sticking to your furniture, it's not sticking to your clothes, is a Zoom Groom. 10 minutes outside, circular motion, that's it. That's all you need.
Brilliant. So that's basically the short hair brushing taken care
Absolutely.
of. So now you mentioned that you might need other products or other tools, let's say, for working with something like a long-haired or wire-haired or curly-haired breed even.
Absolutely.
So yeah, how do we look at those?
With wire-haired, like miniature schnauzer, curly, like the cockapoo, cavapoo, anything, poodle mix, poodles, anything with a curly coat, I would definitely recommend a metal comb, so a wide tooth metal comb and a slicker brush. So the slicker, what is really important for the slicker brush is to kind of have a little hook in the end. I'm probably not making it sound very easy. I've seen like loads of people have shown me that they have this brush that has kind of like soft bristles on one side, and on the other side it has straight up bristles that have a little plasticky bit on the end. They're a waste of time. You're never going to get down to the skin with them. So what you need to do with the longer coat is start at the bottom, start with your slicker brush and try and gently tease those knots out. Sometimes you might find that they work out a little bit easier when you kind of focus on them with some Ruby Reese conditioner and a metal comb, because I find the metal comb sometimes is a lifesaver, and I do a lot of my kind of detangling with the metal comb and some of your conditioner.
Brilliant to hear it. Love to hear it. And so you we're talking about brushing. Is for the longer hair especially, I suppose, like, are we looking at every day? Are we looking at every second day? What's the expectation here, or what's the ideal for brushing?
I would be saying every day, depending on how long your dog's coat is. So I'm sure, if anyone has a longer hair coat, a dog with a longer hair coat, and they're on a kind of semi-regular grooming schedule, like, it depends on how often the dog is being groomed as well, and it depends on how long the coat is. So if the dog's coat is quite long and fluffy, it should be brushed every day. Even if you're giving it 5 or 10 minutes every day, it doesn't allow any problems to happen. So, for example, going back to my sister's miniature schnauzer, he's brushed most days, because if he isn't, we live in the countryside, he'd just be out, he'd just be running around in the garden, he could be covered in grass, and if you don't brush out the grass and the bits that he's picking up, it just turns into knots. Yeah. So if, when knots get bad, they turn into mats. I've unfortunately come across some cases where dogs have been completely like pelted. So essentially that acts as a straitjacket for dogs, just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. But if, 5 or 10 minutes was taken every day to just give it a quick brush through, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're always going to miss spots, and that's okay. But just try not to miss the same spot every time.
Yeah, little and often.
Little and often. Exactly. Or, if it's, you really only have 2 or 3 minutes to do the like long areas. So give the tail a brush through, give their ears a brush through if they have lovely long fluffy ears. Then you have dogs like kind of springers, golden retrievers. They tend to knot behind their ears, so just make sure that you're giving behind their ears a little bit of a brush through. If your dog is in a harness, especially a dog with a longer coat being walked in a harness, to just make sure that you're brushing where the harness sits, because I regularly have dogs on my grooming table, and I'm like, right, you wear a harness because of the friction from the harness, it just makes things a little bit knottier, especially as the weather is unfortunately turning, that dogs are getting out, they're getting wet, and it's totally natural, but it just things can escalate then if they're just not quickly brushed through when they're finished being walked, when they're home.
And I suppose with the short-haired dogs, are we getting off very lightly in that we tend to only need to brush really when they're kind of shedding to get out that excess hair? Is that the general rule of thumb, or?
Yeah, like why my dogs kind of get groomed every 2 or 3 weeks, and outside of that they don't see a brush.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's I do it so often is to just keep the shedding down in the house, and it's what I normally tell my clients, that a lot of my kind of smooth short-haired customers' dogs would kind of be on roughly a 10-week schedule. It's often enough that they're it keeps the shedding down in the house, but it's not you're not overdoing it. It is an expense at the end of the day, so you're not making things far too expensive for people. So that's kind of why they're on that kind of schedule. And what I do say is the more often you do it, the more of a difference you notice. And I recommend the Zoom Groom to absolutely everyone, because it really makes a massive difference, even if it is for 5 minutes that you have. If you have 5 minutes a week, just going out and giving them a quick run over, it really makes a big difference.
And I think loads of dogs love it as well. I think people kind of underestimate we see it as a chore, but I think dogs tend to love being brought out into the garden. Attention is fully on them. I know that Ruby sees it quite often kind of like more of as a massage than anything else.
Absolutely.
Her pamper time.
And it's like, it's a really good bonding experience as well for you with your dog, because they really do enjoy it, and they're really like, this is pamper time. Oh, there's a fuss being made of me. I think all dogs like for there to be a fuss made of them, and just even if it is 5 or 10 minutes that you have, it's lovely to just have that time with your dog. That we're all so distracted by phones, by screens, by what's going on at work. What's going on in social lives. Everyone is so busy, so it's really nice to just have that a couple of minutes that you can really focus on your relationship with your dog.
Definitely. And so we mentioned kind of the building the relationship and everything, but I suppose our behavior and training, how much do these play a role for you? I presume it's hugely important that the dogs are kind of used to being touched or groomed or brushed or asked to kind of stand slightly more still than they might
absolutely
usually. Does that make your life an awful lot easier if these dogs are used to it?
Absolutely. So I recommend that dogs are put on a grooming schedule from the time that they're fully vaccinated. So be it around 16 weeks, that they're being groomed. A lot of dogs aren't going to need a massive amount of grooming at that stage, but even for them to be in a grooming environment, the sounds, I had a lovely puppy in this afternoon who's 6 months old, and she just did not like the blow dryer. So we worked a little bit on the blow dryer. We stopped to get some treats. We had another bit of blow dryer, and then she went back 3/4 dry. Maybe not fully dry, but maybe 3/4 dry. You're trying to make it as positive as an experience as you can, and especially there's a lot of breeds out there that are going to need constant grooming for their whole lives. So you really need to make it as positive of an experience. Sorry, I'm falling over my words now. As you can, and really start them from a young age. Like, play with your puppy's paws, so they're not going to have a phobia of their nails being done or their paws being trimmed. Make sure that they're happy being touched everywhere. That can all be done, through positive reinforcement, lots of treats, lots of cuddles, and really get them in as soon as you can.
Yeah. No, definitely. I definitely think that's super important. And I know that it's a huge issue for us, that Ruby thinks that getting her nails trimmed is the absolute worst thing in the world. And it's completely our fault, because we obviously had a couple of bad experiences, or ones that were a bit more, that she found it a bit more traumatic, and we didn't get that sorted straight away. But anyway, talking about nail trimming, ear cleaning, what's the regimen there? What should we be looking at this quite regularly? Is this something that only the groomer should be doing, or is this something that people should be looking at between grooms? What are the feelings there?
So in general, dogs will wear their nails down themselves. So if they're being brought for a kind of 10 or 15 minute walk on a hard surface, so be it on a path, on a road, anything like that, the nails should wear down naturally themselves. So they should never get too long. Apart from, the dew claws, they're the ones that, on the wrists, as I like to call it, they're the ones that aren't making contact with the ground. So once a credit card can be slid in underneath the nail, you're good to go. That's okay. You run into problems then for light dogs. So for Fig, our little Italian greyhound, she's so light on her feet that her nails don't wear down themselves. So her nails need to be done every 2 weeks, thereabouts, just to make sure that when she walks, she's not putting too much pressure on her nails. I have, come across cases where dogs have had really long nails, and that can cause their toes to deform and their nails to deform, and it just puts pressure on their feet. It makes dogs uncomfortable. So it is something that you should keep an eye on, especially with dew claws, that they're not getting too long, they're not curving over, like they can. Especially the dew claws can grow around and grow into the paw pad, which can be very painful for them. So it's just to keep an eye on them. If you're ever worried about them, give me a shout. I never have any problem with talking to people. And you'll be able to see a lot, especially on dogs with white nails. You can see it's almost like your own nail, the excess white bit, that can all come off. Anywhere there is pink, there's a blood supply. You can't see that, unfortunately, with dogs who have black nails. So that's where their things can come a little bit more traumatic. Yeah. But if you was ever a case of someone did nick the dogs quick, if they were trimming their nails at home, cornstarch will stop that bleeding. So just if anyone, I know you can say it till the cows come home, don't do it at home, but people are always going to do it at home. So it's just, something to maybe help the trauma as well.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah, and I think worst comes to worst. What we find works with Ruby's nails, like you said, if you're walking on hard surfaces, it can be great. But again, she's quite light on her feet and doesn't wear them down. A full day at Marina Market, and she's good to go. She's finally worn them down in the concrete. And you mentioned a couple of you said a couple of breeds, will need quite a lot of grooming during their years. Is there any one breed that stands out that you think people really should know about? It should come with a warning on the label that this is going to be a super high maintenance dog. I've got breeds that will jump to my mind, and not being a groomer, they're probably completely wrong. I'm thinking like big fluffy Samoyeds. I'm thinking maybe even poodles, but I think that could be a complete myth, and something from my own mind. What do you think?
Doodles or any of the poodle mixes, because they're such popular breeds at the moment. They really are, like, they're fashionable breeds, and a lot of people, I had someone say to me last week, they used to have guide dog puppies, they had golden retrievers, they've they've had dogs their entire lives, and recently they got a Cavachon. So, okay, it's not a poodle mix, but it kind of it falls into a similar bracket. And they didn't realize how much maintenance would be involved. And I mean, they're more than happy to look after the dog. He's a special case. The first time he was groomed, he came back. He was totally so upset about it. So now he's on a plan, and it's all great. He's making massive improvements, and I'm so proud of him. But people don't seem to realize how much goes into the poodle mixes. They are kind of marketed as hypoallergenic. When you're mixing, just say a golden doodle, you're mixing a poodle, you're mixing with a golden retriever. Golden retrievers shed, poodles don't. You're not guaranteed that you're going to get the poodle genes. You're not guaranteed that it's always going to be, the poodle doesn't shed, so my golden doodle isn't going to shed. They might be low shedding, but you're not guaranteed that they're not going to ever shed. And then as the dogs get older, their coats can change as well. So while your dog mightn't shed until it's 4, all of a sudden it starts shedding, and you're like, well, what's going on? That's why, things change. Like ourselves, hormones change, they grow up, and sometimes it doesn't happen to every dog, but it can happen that their coats will change. So doodles, any of the Cavachons, Cavapoos, any of the like small fluffy ones, but small fluffy ones doesn't cover kind of the golden doodles, labradoodles, all of that kind of thing. Like you mentioned Samoyeds. Samoyeds are fairly low maintenance because Samoyed coats are self-cleaning. Okay. So if a Samoyed was to go out and go roll in mud in a field, their coat will actually clean itself. So give it 2 or 3 days and you'll have a white Samoyed again. They do need a lot of maintenance from kind of a brushing point of view, because obviously you don't want them to getting knotty and tangled and the whole lot. So they do require grooming, but they don't require as much as you might think.
And I feel they nearly, just the way they look, it already acts as kind of a warning to people that you're going to have work to do with it, regardless, because you just look at that dog and you say, oh my God.
They look like a walking cloud. They really do. Like they're one of my favorite dogs to groom. I get such great satisfaction at you see my lovely clean van at the start, then you see her absolutely covered in fluff at the end, and I'm like, yeah, there'll be bits of this dog floating around for the next week because I'll never get all of it. Yeah. But I get great satisfaction from it.
And I mean, even now we have a short-haired Frenchie, so that's absolutely fine. But I actually grew up with St. Bernards around the house, so I mean, grooming them during shedding season was, again, not even talking about grooming, daily brushing kind of thing. The amount of hair that came off them. I mean, if you've been in the middle of a field, you'd think that a sheep had exploded there or something. There's just bits of fluff everywhere. So totally.
But with German Shepherds dump their coats twice a year, so they really badly shed kind of around this time of the year and coming into the summer, and you could be brushing them and brushing them and brushing them and brushing them. I mean, you could groom one on Monday and you could go back and groom it on Friday because there would be the same amount of hair to come off them again. It's massive, the amount of hair that comes off some breeds, especially during dumping season.
And I suppose now that this is such a topical subject right this time of year, do you have any advice apart from just brushing and brushing and brushing for families with dogs that do tend to dump a whole load of fluff this time of year?
The Zoom groom. Zoom groom and your metal comb, they make a massive difference. Some people have, I was chatting to someone last week who was saying that they add coconut oil to their dog's food, especially this time of the year, to really help with the shedding. It just kind of helps with their coat condition. I haven't tried it myself, so I don't know if it's something that they were lacking, or maybe they just wanted to supplement the diet. But they said that coconut oil really makes a massive difference to their shedding.
I can definitely agree there that the omegas are brilliant in general. I mean, we have Ruby on 100% sardine oil, and it really packs an amazing punch. We weren't giving it to her for her coat at all. We were giving it to her at the beginning for her dodgy knee or luxating patella, depending on how you want to call it. We were doing it for joints. And we gave it to her, and then within kind of 10 to 14 days, we just saw her coat glow up immediately. And the following kind of shedding season, we noticed much reduced kind of shedding, and it was an awful lot easier to get the hairs out and things like that because her coat was glossier, I guess. So yeah, definitely, I think it's potentially the oils again and the coconut could have been.
Yeah, like we noticed a massive difference with Eve as well when we got her first, and she wasn't on amazing quality food. She came from a rescue, so we kept her on the food and tried transitioning her off it. She had no interest, so she's still on the same food. But we just tried to supplement it by, she gets fish, she gets eggs, she gets all other bits to, really, really help with her coat and her skin. And it makes a massive difference to the quality of her coat. So, I have people ask me, fairly regularly, be like, oh, my dog is itchy, what can I give them? Or anything like that. So I always recommend eggs. Eggs are incredible. So if you were to crack an egg over their food once or twice a week and leave them eat it raw, it's incredible for their coat and for their skin. They just make a massive difference.
Absolutely, definitely. And I suppose talking about all the grooming and everything that you do, but I suppose there's probably people watching it as well, particularly with short-coated dogs that do wash their dogs at home. How often would you recommend that dogs be washed? Is there kind of a rule of thumb there?
Wash them when they're dirty. You can't overwash them. Like, I was worried about that when I started washing my two, but you can't overwash them. I wouldn't really be washing them more than once a week, unless, like my two, they like going out and rolling in the fields where the cows have been the day before. That doesn't really result in pleasant washing, but it has to be done. So wash them when they're dirty. Once a week is probably plenty. I wouldn't really be doing it any more than once a week, and you don't have to do it as often as once a week either. But what I would say for kind of longer coated dogs, the Shih Tzus, the Doodles, the Poodles, all that kind of thing, is just to make sure that you're drying your dogs really well, because when the coat is wet, that's when more knotting can occur. And if there's any small little bits of knots or mats or anything like that, when they get wet, obviously they get heavy, so they mat more.
Yeah.
So just to really make sure that the dogs are going away dry.
Absolutely. And I suppose for anyone that's worried about sensitive skin, use a shampoo that's made for sensitive skin, preferably pH balance for dog skin. I presume you hear this one as often as we do, that someone turns around and says, I've been using human baby shampoo for dogs, but human skin
all the time. At least once a week I hear it, and I'm like, no, please don't use that.
But exactly. So just for people watching in, human skin is 10 times more acidic than a dog's. So the pH balance part of that for a human would be considerably different to a dog's. So that's definitely worth watching it.
Absolutely. And like I've used your shampoo. It's incredible. Like I would recommend it to most people who are washing their dogs at home. I also absolutely love your conditioner. I know I've chatted with you about it before. I call it my tail saver.
This is the tail saver here.
The tail saver. Like I have pictures that I meant to send you the other day, that I had a lovely dog who is a regular. His tail was all matted when he came in. I'm spending no more than 10 minutes of trying to detangle it. I was like, we'll try it. If it's not, if this isn't getting any better, I was like, I'm giving up, and I was like, I'll just have to shave off the hair. He is a very active dog. He's out. He gets, he brought for lots of walk. He just be running around the garden. These things happen. And I spend probably 5 minutes with my conditioner, with my metal comb, working out the knots. The difference was incredible, and it's not the first time it's done it. It won't be the last time it's done it. But I use it for everything. I use it on long haired coats. I use it on short coats. Like I might finish off my groom and give dogs a couple of sprays of it when I'm finishing up, and just make sure that the coat is lovely and soft and it's well conditioned, and it's a credit to you. I can't recommend it to people enough.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. And like there's hundreds of sprays in a bottle, so people tend to get an awful lot of use out of it. That's
Absolutely.
brilliant to hear. So all in all, I mean, we've kind of covered a huge spectrum now of dog grooming and what people can do. So what's the overall message? I mean, little and often, get your dog used to it, build that relationship, use it as kind of as quality time with your dog. Use quality products. You don't have to have 101 brushes. Use the ones that actually work for your dog's coat. What other, was there anything else there that I missed out on?
Try and make it as positive an experience as possible. You know, some dogs don't like being brushed, so it is, while it's all well and good for me to be like, this is the best product to use, sometimes they don't work for your dog. Like, I find that grooming gloves work great for some dogs, other dogs can't stand them. So for dogs who, I suppose, need more of a detail as opposed to a clip, you know, use what works for you. I find the Zoom Groom incredible. Some people prefer a slicker brush, more people prefer gloves. It is very much what works for you. A good quality slicker brush, a good quality slicker brush, a Zoom Groom, and a metal comb are the three things that absolutely everybody should have. Doesn't matter if your dog is long haired, short haired, middle hairs, curly hairs, no hair. You know, they're the three things that everybody should have. And if you use those three things, you'll be able to fix most problems.
Brilliant. That sounds amazing. And everyone after this call now, if you've listened in this long, you'll be able to find 3 minutes later to spend some quality time with your dog and work out some of those knots.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Kathy, thank you so much for coming on and joining, sharing all of your knowledge. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, if you're looking to check out what Kathy has to say on her Instagram page, it's at Fluffed Up Grooming. If you want to check out our page, it's at Ruby Reese Official. Once again, thanks a million for joining.
My pleasure.
And I wish you, thank you. Have a great Tuesday evening.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.